All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everyone.
And we got a special guest in studio today, Paget Kagy. Did I totally just botch your name? I totally should have asked before we started this podcast.
Yeah,
it's Paget, right?
It is Paget, but it's actually Kagy, but everyone gets that wrong, so I'm
Kagy.
not going to blame you for that.
Well,
Total rookie error. If you guys,
where does that name come from? It's a really fascinating name.
Yeah, so actually it's my step-grandfather's last name, and I think he was Swiss.
Oh, okay.
Like, he was American, but I think he was Swiss. But yeah, it's a very uncommon name. So I have two very uncommon names. You can't tell what my gender is. You can't tell what my ethnicity is. You can't tell. Yeah,
that's great on college transcript forms. That's great for applications. You don't have to pull an Elizabeth Warren and lie about your ethnicity if you're just named Paget Kagy.
Well, no, but I actually was like, I refused to say that I was Asian on my college application because I went to UC Berkeley and there are too many Asians there.
Oh, no, it's good.
So I actually was like, not like, refused to identify myself, give myself the advantage.
Oh, that's too awesome.
Isn't it sad, though? It's the state of where things are, though. It's like if you don't lie about your ethnicity, you might not get into college. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, seriously.
And then we actually have people of color lying about their people of color status because we know that the colleges actually go against Asians, and then you've got people that aren't American Indian totally lying about
oh my gosh.
At what point do you just realize it's a failed system and we can just go back to using people's GPAs and their test scores? There's not too much wrong with a meritocracy if done right, folks.
But here's the thing, right? This thing is always kind of somebody came up with that idea and somebody championed it, so someone's not going to be like, yeah, my idea is awful, let's not do it. You know what I mean? So they're going to stand up for it, right or wrong. They're going to say, no, I think this is right because otherwise I look like an idiot. So
yeah, that's a problem, is that no one's prepared to actually take any blame for their wrong actions. Okay, so actually before we start, can I just ask a question, the question of the day or the week? Cody, why Cody the Oracle?
Oh, okay, cool. No, this is a good one.
How did you get the Oracle status?
And I trust me, I admittedly, it's grown on me a little bit, but we had normally he would just say I'm with Cody. And we said, hey, we asked people in the comment section, come up with a nickname. What should my nickname be? And that was the one that won.
Than that.
So, no, I mean, seriously, it was
look,
some
Cody,
and that was the one that won. So the one that had the most votes for, I said, whoever gets the most votes, that's my nickname now. I don't care what it is. Thankfully, it wasn't that bad. But
so what were some of the other ones? I want to hear what the close call.
No, it's deeper than that, though.
I'll dig him up.
When we started the show, at first, Cody didn't even want to be on camera because he's one of these, the internet shall not know who I am. He's a total gamer, anonymous, hacker status. You shan't know my name, right? And then there was in one episode, I actually said his last name. I was like, yeah, I'm Cardin Ellis with Cody blank. And he was like, dude, don't say my name, man. And so I said, well, it can't just be Cardin Ellis and Cody. So I was like, we have to have something. So he said, fine, we can give me a stage name. And I tried Killer Cody Como. He didn't like that.
I wonder why.
Well, wait,
with
why
that
Killer
specific
Cody
criticism.
Como? I'm sorry, I don't.
Oh
get
crap!
that
I just outed you again.
No, it's just alliteration.
It's an alliteration.
Okay.
So basically, he didn't like it. So we went to our audience and we said, look, guys, we love you all so much. And if you participate in this in the comment feed, we will actually have a vote. So we put it to a vote. And some guy, I can't remember who it was, but he came up with Cody the Oracle. And that's what everybody voted on, and it stuck.
So what was
it's like Charlemagne the God.
Right. Charlemagne the God. Wait, is Charlemagne his real name? I'm not really that familiar with that channel.
That'd be cool if it was. Dang, naming your.
I'm related to Charlemagne.
You have a Charlemagne?
Oh, I've done my family history. Okay. I'm a direct descendant of Charlemagne.
Wow. Oh, really?
Yeah, back in 700 AD
or
whenever.
Oh my God!
Are you gonna reclaim?
How are they able to do that?
I'm also closest living relative to Clara Barton, the founder of the American Red Cross. Me and my mother.
Really?
Crazy, huh?
Yeah. So what did you do? 23andMe or something like that?
No. Dude, I'm Mormon, man. We do genealogy and crap like that all the time.
Oh, okay. Cool.
We know our family history back 2,000 years.
He's
man,
related to Charlemagne.
Yeah, I'm related. Yeah, it's not I visited him on weekends saying, "Hey, what's up, Grandpa?" You know what I'm saying?
No, so we have to reclaim Constantinople, dude.
Yeah. So after talking about Andrew Yang, would you like to join us in storming the gates of Istanbul, which was Constantinople? Now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople. Okay, I just dated myself. But
anyway, dated yourself to BC or AD. Yeah,
no, that was the old "They Might Be Giants" song.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Istanbul was
You're too-
Constantinople. Okay, moving on.
You
Anyway,
are too old for me, man.
Paget.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm lost.
Please tell me, people in the feed, please comment below if you remember They Might Be Giants. Istanbul was Constantinople. Now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople, because a long time ago in Constantinople, they changed the name to Istanbul.
Holy
Oh
crap.
my gosh. Okay, anyway, we'll play it on the intro and the outro if we can do it. So anyway, when we started our channel, virtually nobody was talking about Andrew Yang, except for our good friend Paget here, who totally beat us to the punch.
Wait, no, I didn't. I did not beat you to the punch. There's no way.
Really?
Yeah, you guys have been around for like 5 months, right?
Yes,
A long time.
our first Yang video was published
In
April 1st, 2000. No, before
March
that.
1st.
It was like,
Or maybe
it
even
was like before
February.
that. I think I actually
14th.
researched this.
March 14th, 2019 was the first video. Who is Andrew
a while.
Yang and what is the freedom dividend? From March 14th. That's when we
No,
started.
I mean, you guys are like actually one of the first because I only joined like in like last month, well, in July.
Oh, wow,
Wait,
okay.
really?
I
feel
joined
I've
like
seen
in the
all place.
beginning of
That's so cool.
July after the first debates.
Very cool.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
because we've been watching your stuff because we literally like have Google alerts and we every morning we get up and we see what people are talking about Andrew Yang. And you were one of the first people that we actually saw besides us. So we thought that you'd beaten us to the punch, but maybe you didn't.
No, you guys are one of the you guys are the true early adopters that he talks about.
True
So you're
early
gonna be like invited to the White House and get
Yeah.
special VIP treatment.
If you would just start responding to our emails. If you would just start responding to our emails, so we didn't have to fake passes in order to get interviews with him.
actually-
Did you know the story behind our first pass and our first interview with Andrew Yang?
Wait, no.
Oh
What?
my gosh. Okay, we show up to his LA rally and I meet a guy there who's really cool with Fox News and he's got the Fox News stuff and the camera set up and everything. You think our studio's legit? He was all legit. And anyway, after talking with him and befriending him, he actually confided in me. He's like, dude, I'm a comedian. This is fake Fox News stuff. Like, I just go to Democrat rallies as a Fox News guy and go to Republican rallies as a CNN guy and ask incendiary questions to get people ticked off. You know what I'm saying? And it gets caught on camera and I've got a comedic channel. He is absolutely hilarious. And I don't want to say his name yet because I don't want to out him. But what happened was the press person for Andrew Yang came up and said, okay, so why are you out here? Where's your press pass? He's like, oh, you know what? They sent me over here late. I don't know. And she's like, okay, well, here you go. And he's like, yeah, this guy's my friend too. Can you give him a press pass also? And she's like, yeah, who are you with? I was like, I'm with FM 98.1 Problem Solver Politics. And I had my my little mic flag on my microphone on me and I just showed it to her, right? She's like, okay, cool. You're the last two. We don't want any more. Come on in, right? And so I got my first interview with Andrew Yang because I became friends with a comedian who was totally bamboozling all of Pershing Square about his status as a media person. I was the only one with a legit FCC radio station. Like I have a Sunday show on FM 98.1 Problem Solver Politics. You'll see a lot of the same content on the podcast as you hear on the show. And I was the one that was legit and he's the one that got us the press pass.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. So wait, have you found this guy on YouTube? Like, does he post his stuff?
Oh yeah, he's hilarious. We interviewed him on a show.
Yeah, and you can actually
Wait, so
see
why can't you out him?
Well, yeah, he's outed himself. Just to be.
Okay.
Oh,
you can
did
send
he
it to
out
me
himself?
later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's our first interview with Andrew Yang right there.
Oh my gosh.
Like back when nobody knew who he was.
April 23rd. It was his LA rally. I think April 23rd was.
And we actually had a really cool moment because my radio show was still very much in its infancy then as well. And when I went up to him, I said, hey, dude, I was like, nobody knows my name yet, but everybody's going to know my name someday, and nobody knows your name, and everybody's going to know your name someday. And he looked at me, he's like, yeah, I like that, man. I really like that, dude. I like that. You know what I'm saying? So we had like a little moment, a Yang moment, you know?
I love that.
So anyway,
It's so funny.
we'll like totally dive right in. This is taking way too long. This is like the longest intro ever, but whatever. It was
Sorry,
good.
guys. I'm not like I don't know if this proves that I'm just not a very good guest.
So Cody, ask our good friend Paget a probing, deep, inquisitive,
Oh shit, really?
and worthy of Andrew Yang
Okay, cool. I got
conversation
a good
question.
Wait a second, hold on. Can I cuss on this channel? No.
We're just gonna have to edit it out if we want to put it on the radio.
really?
So if you want to put it on the radio, don't cuss. If you
I
don't want to
just
be on the radio,
cussed.
well, we can
Sorry.
edit that one out. We can edit that
Okay,
one out.
all right. I'm gonna try and be good
Please,
from now on.
No problem.
Can I say crap though?
Yeah. You
Okay,
can.
I'll say crap.
That's FCC approved.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
before you say anything on this, but I have a good question for you.
Yes.
It's actually an interesting one. Did you or had you heard of Andrew Yang before or after you started seeing the pink hats? Did that come something after you knew who Andrew Yang was for a while? Like, oh, the pink hat stuff, that's Yang. Or were you like what are all these pink hats on Twitter? What's going on? And then, oh, this is Andrew Yang is. I'm just curious.
100% after.
Oh, interesting. Cool.
Yeah, the first thing I knew about him was that he was the Asian guy who got like 2 minutes to speak at the first Democratic debate. That was the only thing I really knew about him. And that he was giving everyone $1,000 a month, or that was his proposal. That was it. And then I just I went through all of his interviews like in the span of a few days, and then I posted that video, my first video on him, and that was it. And then everyone was like just basically updating me on all the Yang Gang stuff. So
what got you interested in Andrew Yang? Because I noticed one of your first videos was like why I switched from Bernie to Andrew Yang. When we interviewed people at the Pershing Square rally, we were intrigued with the diversity of background everybody had. I mean, you go to a Kamala Harris rally and you're going to get 2 types of people. You go to an Andrew Yang rally and you're in 7. Okay. Yeah. And so we thought it was intriguing. 1/3 were ex-Trump people that are like, I'm a proud Trump voter. I voted it for all the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm totally interested in Andrew Yang. Some were just like, I really want to know more about UBI. Others were like total like, we love Asians. We're Asian. There's an Asian president. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
Oh, come on. They were going beyond Hello Kitty for this guy. You know what I'm saying? It was awesome. And then you also had a ton of like Democratic socialists who are just like, I recognize there's a lot of things that don't work in theory. I like a guy who's been an entrepreneur, So he had everything from like all the fanboy stuff to fanboy and fangirl stuff to just really kind of philosophical followers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was a wildly diverse group. So we're wondering what got you into him?
Honestly, it was just the fact that he made a lot of sense, and that as someone who, so you guys, I can tell you're very into politics and you've been into politics for quite some time, but I have not been into politics at all. And if someone, like I am the least political person, so if someone could actually get me into politics because they made that much sense and I believe so much in their policies, then that is pretty incredible. And that speaks volumes, but it was really because he just made so much damn sense. And like I couldn't look away. I'm like, wait, we need this. Like, this is what we've been all looking for. Like you said, when people voted for Trump, they were expecting Andrew Yang. You know what I mean? Like someone who's actually going to solve the problems of like the average American person.
Okay. So you say you weren't really into politics before. Would you have qualified yourself as a Bernie person before? Or was it just kind of a personality thing where you're just like, didn't like Clinton's personality, didn't like Trump's personality, Bernie seemed nicer, what?
No, actually, so at the time, I didn't dislike Hillary that much. And I actually, at the time, I didn't really see why people hated Hillary so much. I'm going to be honest.
Well, the 2 suicide bullets to the back of the head might have, put me over the edge, but.
Yeah, no. But what I'm saying is that I wasn't political. So all I knew was I just really liked Bernie Sanders and I just wanted him to win. And that was really it. So, but yeah, I mean, aside from Bernie and Yang, like you ask me anything historical about politics and I am not going to be able to give you an answer.
Well, see, that's actually really interesting because we just talked about this 3 or 4 videos ago. And there's 2 things we've been criticizing and also been applauding. First, we've been criticizing a lot of internet polls because the internet polls predicted Donald Trump's success while all of the scientific in the know people in polls didn't. And you could tell because there was massive generation gaps and problems with their methodologies, right? So that's been a criticism. And an applaud we had and some applause that we had in 2016 was the amount of first-time voters and first-time registrants that were coming out for Donald Trump. And we said, look, these people don't show up on the radar of polling because polling is constantly polling frequent and registered voters. But if you've got so much enthusiasm behind your following, which I'm sorry, people aren't registering for the first time for Joe Biden or for Kamala Harris. Maybe Pete Buttigieg because you've got the whole LGBT thing going on, but like when it comes to people that legit we see in the forums and the political discussion feeds, there is an enthusiasm behind Andrew Yang with people willing to register for the first time that were apolitical and willing to show up to rallies and engage in the political process for the first time that had never before in their lives that we honestly have not seen since the year before the election of Donald Trump. And so we've said, you can't take these The Hill does a poll and he's at 0.8%. BS.
Right. Yeah.
Like if he's crushing Twitter polls.
Yeah.
With 70,000 respondents, beating the Bernie Sanders of New York Twitter poll 2020. You know what I'm saying? On their own home turf. Like I'm sorry, your 1,004 consistent voters, that were polled across the Midwest because they show up on the voter reg blogs for the past 8 elections as high propensity voters. Like, this is not on their radar because all they do is analyze the mailers that come in the week before the elections. So we actually think there's a lot to be said about you. You're like a little petri dish of a first-time Yang follower.
Totally.
Because you're way committed too. I mean, you straight up in one of your videos, you phone banked.
So yeah, and okay, so what's really funny about that? I don't know if you guys had the patience to even watch. But so someone was like, hey, you need to can you please set an example and record your side of the conversation of the phone banking? And I'm like, don't really want to do that, but I
Is
will.
that legal? We are a single party. We're not a single party posting state, but you can record your half the conversation.
Right,
yes.
exactly. So then I did it. And what I found very funny is that people saw it as a way, as an opportunity to then critique my performance. It's like, it's like them requesting me to put up a tennis, a practice tennis match or something like that. And they're like, yeah, I didn't really quite like the way you follow through with your backhand there. That was a little off. And I'm just like, I'm trying to encourage you people to actually do the thing. You know what I mean? And you don't have to be perfect and polished to do it. And I'm just an average person trying to do this thing. So if you're going to criticize me, please do it yourself.
So when you phone bank, who do you call? Just your friends first, in your own cell phone?
Wait,
setup.
No, it's a whole thing. So you have to.
Well, I know you can plug into the campaigns.
Right.
Yeah, but also, do you just think, okay, I'm going to call all my friends first because it's got more sway, or are you mortified to call all your friends first?
No, that's actually not. I mean, so I would talk my friends' ears off. I already have done that actually about Andrew Yang, and then they get a little intimidated because I get really fired up and it sounds like I'm yelling at them when really I'm just excited. So I've already done that with my friends, and I think some of them have been really interested. But here's the thing: I'm just gonna be honest. My friends, they're they're women and they're around my age, and so not trying to gender stereotype, but none of them are interested in politics.
This is a politically correct free zone.
Okay, but I also don't want to criticize. None of them, none of my closest girlfriends are into politics at all. So when I talk about Andrew Yang, they just start their eyes start glazing over. You know what I mean? So yeah, but I already talked their ears off about it, and my family too. They're probably really annoyed.
So what pulled you out of the apolitical swamp into the glorified and elevated ivory tower of in the know political commentators on YouTube?
Because
what did it? What did it for you?
Because we need to make this man president. And I know I'm just sounding
Was it good looks? Is it UBI? Is it just the refusal to wear a tie? Is it nuclear energy?
I mean, come on, because he is the only person who is seeing where this country is headed. I mean, you look at all these tech giants, right? And I know someone in the tech world in Silicon Valley, and actually he's retired, and he's like, literally most of my friends in the tech world, they have bunkers. They bought bunkers, and they're preparing basically for some dystopia. And that's why I've moved out of Los Angeles, all this crazy ass stuff.
Well, hold on 1 second. You can finish before we get to that. I want to hear more about these bunkers. The bunkers are the craziest thing to me. People actually
wanted to do a video on the bunkers.
I want to hear continue, but I want to get back to that. That is crazy to me.
Yeah, no, but I mean, these people are obviously creating the future of our society, and they're seeing everything that's coming down the pipeline. Why aren't we heeding to their warnings? Do you know what I mean? And so Andrew Yang,
I don't know too many people that are warning in big tech of automation coming. Andrew Yang is kind of really the only one.
No, that's true.
Well, no, even Elon Musk is the only one that has said it.
No,
years
Zuckerberg
ago,
as well.
Elon Musk said it. And it was a Twitter conversation that ended up making its way to Joe Rogan. And then Zuckerberg kind of mirrored that when people asked him about it. But there's nobody that's like Paul Revere saying, guys, this is really something to take seriously.
And you're absolutely right. And this guy, he was like, see, the special thing about Andrew Yang is that he's the only ones who's actually trying to do something about it. Everyone else is just spending all their money to try and save themselves because they don't really give. I mean, they probably give a fuck, but I mean,
we say give a zuck.
Give a zuck.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
This video is a adults video.
I'm sorry. I
And children. And
video.
children.
You're not converting very many children
I
to
am
Andrew
so-
Yang.
Hold
So
on. How about
sorry.
this though?
I'm
Off topic.
sorry.
As much as I'm not a fan of the guy, I gotta defend the Zuck here. You can't come at him like that. This is an article from 2017 when Mark Zuckerberg, in a commencement speech at Harvard,
Yes.
brought up UBI. So May 2017. So you gotta give him that credit, man.
No, so he is hinting at it. He's like, "Hey guys, like I kind of see where this is going. We kind of need to do this UBI thing too." So like, but basically, if you're in the know in the Silicon Valley, you know that some bad stuff is like on the horizon, and Andrew Yang is the only person who's talking about it at this level. Like, that is why I am so passionate, because I don't even know. Okay, this is gonna be like really doomsday sounding, but I don't even know if I necessarily want to have kids. Like, if we're going down a really dark, scary path. Like, I don't know what their future is gonna be when they're 80 years old.
Oh, you're never ready, so you might as well just start whenevs. She's single. We're going to start pagetkagysingle.com, and you can just give your tax returns, your net worth. There's no shame in marrying for wealth, Paget.
Anyway,
moving on to other subjects.
Moving on, Gordon. Jeez, that got like a little.
We'll about this for a second. We'll take a little detour. It's funny because you brought up something about honestly, there's real problems and no one's facing them, right? So I just wanted to show this meme real quick, and I wanted to get his opinion on it.
Oh, wait, hold on.
This picture, okay. This picture. Wow, where did this come from? Holy cow! But I think this is a good analogy for exactly what you're talking about.
That's the UFC girl that unionized the UFC.
Yeah, who's he headlocking? And who's the guy in the background? I don't know.
Yes, just make it illegal. Just make it illegal.
Just make it illegal.
See what I mean? So, but I think it's a great way. Exactly. There's problems that are coming up. Like some people say, like, oh, we should just ban self-driving trucks. Like, that doesn't solve anything, man. Like, how do we solve problems that are real?
Well, and being Luddite is never going to be the solution, or else other countries, which from a business perspective are our competition, are just going to catch up and
they're going to decimate us, basically. Also,
exactly. It's non-competitive because we don't use self-driving trucks here. Cool, we do here, and it's better.
So anyway, so basically, I guess before we wrap up here, I gotta know, what is your elevator pitch for the new apolitical girlfriend whom you have not talked their ear off yet? What is what do you say, like when you're phone banking and hey, let's do a role play. You're just going to call me and I'm going to pretend I'm apolitical and I'm just a gamer. And then actually we don't have to role play, but
I mean, have you seen my phone banking videos and how awkward I am? Like,
it's not that bad.
I don't think you really want.
I wouldn't say awkward. That's not I wouldn't call you a seasoned veteran.
Oh, definitely not. I mean, like so many people were like, at that point, you shouldn't have said that. Don't say this. They have no idea what you're talking about. Jeez, you're bad.
That's
your debate coach who's
someone
just,
actually was like, you're hurting his campaign. Please do not do this. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, how about this though? Get this though. We talked about this in the video we did a while ago, but some of these polls, like when Andrew Yang needed to hit those 4 polls, 2%. Some of these polls are polling 1,000 people. 2% of 1,000. Yeah. If you win over 3 people in New Hampshire that happen to get polled, that's the difference between a candidate going to the debate. So I think it's so cool you did that because it really is like, it feels like, I talked to 9 people, 10 people, even 30 people. What difference does it make, right? But if 4 of those people you talk to change their mind and they're polled, guess what? That's going to a debate instead of not.
So what's your apolitical pitch? Like, what's the elevator pitch if you only had your 20 seconds to phone bank, or you met somebody in the supermarket with your Yang Gang hat or whatever? Because they might come up to you and say, oh, I'm a math educator too. Like, are you in public education?
Actually, someone at Trader Joe's was like, he was like, math, what is that? And I was like, it stands for Make America Think Harder. And he laughed. He's like, oh, that's funny. I was like, yeah, Andrew Yang, check him out. And then he was like, oh, good. Yeah. So actually, people still don't really recognize what math is.
So what do you say?
So my elevator pitch is probably something along the lines of scaring them first. Like, and I've been using this stat so much because I think it's scary. Like 40% of U.S. jobs are in danger of being automated away by 2030. 40% of U.S. jobs, 40% of the workforce. So I would lead with that and be like, is there any other candidate that that's actually like thinking about this, or have you even talked about this with any of your other friends, or like, is this the first time you're hearing about this? And they would probably say absolutely yes, because I don't really pay attention. I'm like, there is one candidate who is actually going to address this growing problem, and that's Andrew Yang, and you need to go listen to an interview with him because he actually makes sense. And you know me, I'm incredibly apolitical, so for me to get excited about this means you got to at least look him up and give him a shot and actually like participate and make a difference so that we can actually have a future in this country.
All right, that was a really long elevator, but
Sorry,
still,
yeah,
it
I'm
worked.
not good with
you know what I'm saying?
See,
it
this
worked.
is what I'm saying is that like phone banking is not my strong suit because I'm just going to talk their ear off.
But
and
it's
then say
cool,
a whole
and
bunch of-
I love it when people get involved in the political process because really the biggest problem we have is that exhausted majority, just like Jonathan Haidt and
That's what Andrew Yang's targeting.
he
admitted it. That's
Andrew
basically
Yang said
who he
it's-
wants to
it's-
motivate.
It's the exhausted majority. So you got any other questions for Paget before we wrap up?
Well, something similar. You asked before, what were the other options for my nickname? I've been looking the whole time. I finally found the video that had the comments.
What are
So here are some other ones. And we can go through and you can see why. So the closest one after that was Learn to Cody.
Learn to Cody.
No offense, not my favorite. There was also, let me go down to the next ones. Someone had multiples like Caller Cody or Roadie Cody, Shody Cody, which would be show of Cody in Spanish.
Okay.
Okay, that's
And Brody Cody. So,
Oh, actually, I kind of like the Birdie Cody. Although, Cody the Oracle, it sounds like there's a finesse to it. I like that.
Yeah.
That's why I had to ask you about it because I'm like, why is he the Oracle? And you
You
should
are
actually come up with
clairvoyant.
a good story behind why you're the Oracle.
well, the reason why someone said that they actually the nickname just because I guess I didn't think about it because I've been on Twitter and on Twitter Andrew Yang had been kind of news for a month or two, but I guess on
Yeah.
YouTube we were one of the first Andrew's people say, oh, you were on Andrew Yang very early on. That
Yes.
was kind of the motivation, and I didn't even realize this till right now. Gif Shinobi, I don't know if you've seen him on Twitter. He's all over Twitter making all
Yes.
kinds of.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
actually
yeah.
commented on this video and said either logical Cody or scientific Cody or factual Cody.
Actual
No offense, man. I'm not a fan of those, but keep doing what you're doing, man.
Wait a second. Okay, wait. Do we have time? Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah,
Please,
hit
yeah,
us.
please.
Hit us.
Okay.
Please.
So, I was looking at some of your earlier videos.
Yeah,
and I was looking at some of the comment section, and I saw that some people were a little bit. So how do you guys deal with criticism? Like, is it easier because it's both?
Oh,
of
I
you, or
fight
how-
him.
Oh, do you? Do you actually
Oh
fight
no,
back?
Cody hates it.
I
Yeah.
encourage against it every single time.
Yeah.
Anyone out there?
Well, no,
anytime,
sometimes he
ever.
wins. Like legit. Like if he sees me and I'll be like, oh, look at this comment. Like, oh, and he just sees me gearing up. Like he'll be like, dog, it's not worth it. Just walk away. Just like I need more of Cody in my life.
Well, here's the
right?
thing.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
Here's
yeah.
the thing always. If when you get a good comment, does it like make your month? Can you like not stop? Oh my God, one person said they like me.
Yeah, what
I
is
can't stop.
that?
And then you get one person who's like, dude, I sound like an idiot. And you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah, what the
dude,
hell
it's
is
like,
okay?
yeah, like, who
I am
cares, man?
so
Well,
glad
no,
that
but here's the
you
deal.
can relate to that.
But I
we can
have
move on. Okay.
I have screenshots. Like just in 2 live streams ago, somebody totally dogged in the not totally dogged, but somebody heavily criticized in our feed, just saying, "What's wrong with Bernie Sanders' $15 minimum wage? Like, don't you like poor people and minorities? Are you
geez.
racist?
Oh, no.
And then like, why can't we have UBI and both? Right?
Right,
And then so I
right.
said, okay, so hold on. I was like, let's lock and load. Let's study the math. Here's the stats, stripped of any kind of predetermined animus for anything. I'm a business owner. This is how my ability to hire people has been affected by the draconian legislation of the California Democratic Party, which is a microcosm that will represent the macrocosm of $15 minimum
Yeah,
wage.
yeah.
And I went on for like a solid 5 minutes, literally giving straight stats. The guy ended up giving us a $10 super chat saying, "Thank you, you changed my mind."
Holy moly.
I think it's a battle worth fighting
Well,
if
but
it's
that's
factual.
different. That's different. That's one thing if, hey, I disagree with your opinion.
Yeah, that is different. I
Yeah.
mean the
When
ones where
someone's
they're just like,
oh, you're stupid
yeah, you're an
looking.
idiot.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
you don't even
or
know.
like,
Well, you just gotta go get over those ones.
Hey, my response
or like
always
someone
is,
called me a transvest. Like someone's called me a transvestite like multiple times, and I'm like, I don't know if like you're saying that in a complimentary way, like I'm a transvestite from Thailand and they're
I've
really
seen some
pretty,
really attractive
or
transvestites.
you're saying that
That
I
should
look
be
like
a
a man.
compliment.
But I mean those now like I can just laugh off. But the ones that actually kind of sting are when people are like criticizing your thinking.
It should only
your,
sting.
intelligence. That's what's a little bit.
This is what I believe. It should
I don't know.
only sting if there's some truth to it.
But-
and then you have something you can change. But if there's no truth to it and you
Right.
don't look like a transvestite, then you
Thank
should
you.
be able to
And
just
you're,
like totally walk
one
away.
person. Thank you for confirming that.
No, I mean,
So
it just,
appreciated.
I guess part of it too just comes from like I said, where I grew up online as a kid. I was like I said, I was used to the things I used to just say to people, not even when I was upset with them, and they would say back to me when I was 12 or 13, 14, playing games online. Like I read Twitter comments like, "Oh, dude, your brain is small." I'm like, "Oh, whatever, man." Like I have heard so much worse than like whatever you're giving me. It's like I don't care. Dude. Like, I think that's part of it. Where I just grew up, like the proverbial like Xbox 360 people just shouting profanities at each other. So
Right.
when I get on YouTube and it's more, I almost think it's like cordial. I was like, oh, I think
cordial.
I disagree with your thoughts. I think you sound like an idiot. I'm like, hey, that's fine, man. At least you didn't threaten to like, burn my house down. You think I sound like an idiot.
Yeah.
So I can live with that. I can deal with this.
No, okay. So I just need to get used to it. Basically, I just need to get a little bit thicker skin. But another question that I have for you guys is like, how has your experience been since you've had the channel for longer, with the Yang Gang community as a whole, and then other communities who come and look at your content?
Oh, well, I'll just go first off because
yeah, take it away, Cody.
when it comes to the Yang Gang community, it has been just overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
It's been really cool. It's fun. People will actually go into I think it's just the unique thing about the Yang Gang as a whole. People will even mention it in our comment sections. Like, it's crazy how positive comment sections are on Yang videos. Like, we really don't get that many crazy, like, oh my God, just tons of people coming in, like a bunch of Bernie supporters coming in, supporters of like Trump or other candidates, like coming in and flooding it. That doesn't happen. It's really pretty much mostly Andrew Yang people.
Well, it's also because the Yang Gang sticks
but
together. Like, when there was that concern about another YouTuber who was posting comments in our feeds, you all of a sudden started seeing people saying, let's go flood his comment section and tell him nice things. So he just, we kill him with kindness. You know what I'm saying?
I freaking love that. I'm like a mushy person, and I love it. It's so amazing.
Yeah,
Well, I think part of it, like, it's a little bit of a tangent, but still, I think memes like this sum up how the Yang Gang's been to us. You look at it's just goofy, it's lighthearted, it's fun. It's the Trump. He's not attacking Trump. It's just the famous picture of the kid mowing the lawn, and he says, "Hey kid, you want $5?" And he's like, "Nah, Andrew Yang already gave me $1,000." Yeah. That attitude of like, we're not going to argue and fight with each other. Andrew Yang wants to give us all $1,000. He wants to fix problems that are coming up. That attitude is just basically our experience.
Well, part of the reason also why I think the Yang Gang can have this attitude is because the math does add up with the ideology.
Right.
Okay. I mean, there's so many arguments. Like, you can't watch. I used to have this. This section, this bit that we did in my terrestrial radio show, where we call it "Keeping Up with Kamala," because she's a prolific tweeter. But I literally think it's her interns at the gender studies major at UC Berkeley, just saying whatever their professor said
about
was.
UC Berkeley?
My mom went there. I'm just saying it's the most liberal UC of all of the schools.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Is it?
And so, UC Berkeley
is,
by far.
Actually, UC Santa Cruz. UC Santa Cruz actually
look,
could
look,
be
look. UC Berkeley, UC Santa Cruz is like comparing like Chewbacca with Jabba the Hutt. All right, they're both just big and ugly, and you don't want to mess with them. All right.
Excuse me.
So
like, I'm actually wearing like a cow shirt. Right.
I'm talking about in terms of liberalism. That's it. It's a beautiful
also,
school.
This guy went to school out of state, so don't.
I went to school out of state.
He's gonna dog on any California.
The most liberal of the CSU schools is CSU Northridge.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So people definitely, we noticed in the Yang Gang that people definitely bring a lot of vestiges of their previous ideologies with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like Britney Spears. You can take the girl out of the dirty South, but you can't take the dirty South out of the girl, like they say, right? You know what I'm saying?
Spears. Wow, you just
we're
impressed me.
real pop culture.
No, wait, we're Britney fans. Toxic's a great song.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
we've opened with Britney music.
All right, nice. All right,
You know what I'm saying?
I like
Nothing
that.
wrong with the dirty South. It's just the dirty South. You know what I'm saying?
Britney fans, big Shakira fans here at Problem Solve Politics.
That's true. And he's getting me more onto the 90s hip hop I grew up with, even though he is significantly younger than I. So it's a cultural experience here. I'm also getting more into world wrestling. He is a huge WWE, WWF, TCW, WDA, whatever it is. WDOs. You know what I'm saying? WMD. He's all about all of that. Anyway, so yeah, we get it's a mixed bag with the Yang Gang, but we definitely have to notice that it's generally positive. You'll definitely get spats where you can tell people have not been they've been influenced by previous ideologies. But one thing we've noticed and enjoyed about the Yang Gang is a willingness to talk in an effort to further the position in the Democrat Party of Andrew Yang.
Yeah.
Especially, I've noticed, for example, a lot of the Bernie bros are adamantly anti-nuclear power because Bernie Sanders is adamantly nuclear power. But then when they watch our nuclear power video on the nuclear power proposals of Andrew Yang, they're like, holy crap, I feel like my eyes have been opened and, I've come to Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, that's incredible that you're able to do that, actually.
It's a minority, though. It's a minority.
Well, whatever, right? Because they're probably going to go tell their other Bernie friend about it. So, last question for you guys, because I've been curious.
Please.
So, Cody, you seem, I don't know if I'm right, more liberal on the like liberal side. I don't know if you want
Sorta.
to be outed. And like, Cardin, you seem
Not
like more
really.
conservative. No.
Well, no, okay, forget.
Like,
to be
who
frank,
did you guys vote for?
Well, actually, here,
Actually, hold on.
We'll just do one
take this real
question at a
quick.
time, yeah.
but
Yeah.
To be frank, honestly, I'm the kind of person, whatever party is in the White House, I'm going to be more critical of them than anything else because I'm an anti-government person. So,
Okay.
like I said, if Hillary was in the White House right now, I'd be like, oh man, dude, the Republicans, we got to make sure it's more balanced. But then Republicans are in. Hey, you can't just let the Republicans do whatever they want. Like I'm kind of the opinion that the government sucks, and so whoever's in power in the government, probably their fault. So let's get someone new in. That's kind of my general thing. So that's why when I see Andrew Yang actually coming from not politics background, who is like, oh, I just want to solve problems, like fix things and try to get stuff done. I'm like, wow, that's really refreshing because yeah, exactly. I don't care what party they're from. I just want someone to get into the White House and try to fix some of this nonsense, and then we can move on. I always joke with people that come to me and they say they hate Trump because he's a Republican. I'm like, I do because he's the president. Like, what do you mean because he's a Republican? Like, he's the president. What's he done for me? You know what I mean? Like what difference does it make? You know? So that's more where I come from.
So
independent, truly independent.
Yeah,
guess,
it's he's actually kind of apolitical in the sense of not vested in a party's. I would say a party, not apolitical. He's actually very, very politically in the know, but very a party success.
Right.
You know? Whereas me, I jokingly tell people I am so liberal, I'm willing to vote conservative if I have to. And I'm so conservative, I'm willing to vote liberal if I have to.
What in the hell does that mean?
Thank you. Yes.
I'll tell you.
You know what? That's a great political answer. That's a great question. I just like to say that, the sun, sometimes it comes up and sometimes it goes down.
You just did that thing.
This has to do with why I was so willing to adopt basically 90% of our coverage is Andrew Yang's. All right.
Right.
Because take nuclear energy, for example. I grew up surfing. I'm here in California. We've got multiple national parks, state parks. We have trees and species that only grow here. I've always been a huge environmentalist, right? I'm such an environmentalist that I recognize all these forms of generating electricity, except for nuclear energy, do more damage than good. And if we need more energy because our population is growing, as an environmentalist, I have no choice but to support nuclear energy, despite the fact you got these psycho SJWs out there saying, no nuclear, nukes are for evil tyrants because they watched a science fiction movie in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? Like when Bill Maher says that, the BDS movement is just by people, dumb people that want to appear woke, but actually slept through history class. To a certain extent, I agree with that. I was like, I get that I'm going against the traditional orthodoxy of the Democrat Party, but if we truly want to be environmentalists, we need to support nuclear energy. Same with the carpool lanes. It's been proven in 8 studies that I've looked at, 8 studies, that isolating one lane for carpoolers and then slowing down the 3 other lanes actually slows down general traffic and creates so much carbon from the general traffic by creating traffic earlier and alleviating it later, that what we gain in carbon dioxide emissions from the general lane isn't compensated for by the carpool lane. So if we actually really want to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and we are true to the statement that your carbon footprint matters, who's the bigger environmentalist? The Republican that says, look, the carpool lane's a failed experiment and traffic is horrendous in LA. We need to eliminate the carpool lanes. The Republican is actually advocating more for the health of climate change than the Democrats that say, no, keep the carpool lane, you're a science denier. No, actually, we're not science deniers. The science shows that we don't benefit from carpool lanes in terms of carbon dioxide emissions. So when I say I'm so liberal that I'm willing to vote conservative if I have to, I am so liberal that I will full-fledged support a Republican in a desire to get rid of the failed carpool lane experiment if I have to. And be damned, you guys that say, oh, you're just a science denier, because I know who I am. I've read the reports. You're the idiot, not me.
So that makes
so that's why I like Andrew Yang, because I view him kind of like that.
Honestly, that probably sums up Cardin's political perspective as best. You're the idiot, not me. That's basically his entire political stance. Anything. That's his debate in anything.
I'm sort of getting that. No, but like...
It's difficult when you're on the top.
I'm
okay?
Sure,
it's difficult.
Gosh.
I'm sure, man. That's what they all say, huh?
Do your eyes hurt having to stare at us from way down here?
Exactly.
But socially though, would you say you're mostly conservative or?
No, actually, I'm in the I don't care club. I guess I would say I'm mostly libertarian.
Okay.
There's times where on specific issues like, for example, I could care less if gay dudes want to get married, but don't craft a law that would put at risk religious people who have sincerely held beliefs. I'm what I call an asterisk social value voter. Generally, I could care less, but just don't pass a law. Like, for example, sometimes people consider environmentalism a social issue. And I've oftentimes defended conservatives on environmental issues because they say, oh, they don't believe in climate change. No, it's not that they don't believe in climate change. It's that they don't believe nationalizing an economy over climate change is the solution. You have to be able to distinguish between the ideology and the legislation. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I've never met a conservative. I've never met a KKK member. Yet the Republican Party gets called members of the KKK all the time. And I've never met somebody that actually doesn't think climate change is real, that's conservative. I've never met one. I've met ones that have said, you want to know what? Yeah, I mean, we do need to reduce carbon, but why can't we be planting trees? Nobody ever talks about reforestation. Nobody ever talks about reducing the carbon imprint of the Chinese tankers that come and idle in the middle of San Pedro Bay, actually emitting more carbon dioxide than the truckers do in California. California passed this crippling trucker law where you had to put this $50,000 emissions device on your vehicle if it was older than 2015. And if you're a mom and pop shop that has 5 fleet vehicles going up and down the coast of California delivering goods from a 2014 truck, which isn't that old, all of a sudden having the state give you a $200,000 bill, you know what I'm saying, is crippling. So it damaged the trucking industry. And the sick thing was, if you added up all of the older than 2015 trucking vehicles that were in the state and all of their emissions, it was less emissions than the Chinese oil tankers delivering their goods idling in San for 2 weeks at a time. So when you'd look at that, you'd say, okay, do I have to screw an entire trucking industry in order to pass your purity test of virtue? You know what I'm saying? That I believe in climate change? No, I don't think screwing the truckers is an integral part of improving our carbon dioxide emissions. So that's where I think most conservatives are. And the studies by Jonathan Haidt actually show that generally most conservatives approach an argument with 5 moral principles. Most liberals approach an argument with only 2. And so that's not saying that's bad, because sometimes you just need strong 2. It's like a pinch hitter in baseball. Sometimes you need a guy that can just run fast. You just need that one quality, you know?
That'd be the pinch runner.
Well, I do think that we have a problem in identifying the actual issues, right? Identifying the actual problems. That's where we have a really big problem.
Well, and that's why channels like yours are so important. And this is so important, though, because the guy that draws Dilbert said it so well. I can't remember his exact quote, but he basically said, we're living in a world where there's a movie screen in which 2 people can see 2 different stories.
Yes.
And it's like, you can choose your own adventure now in politics, because literally Trump could cure cancer and MSNBC would be talking about how racist it was.
Yeah,
and
I
Fox
do actually
News
agree
would
with
talking about how he's the Messiah.
Yeah.
You know,
He actually double solved cancer. He solved all the cancers.
He actually solved it twice and kept us hanging.
No, but I totally do agree actually with that, is that they will take anything he does and like villainize it. And I don't like Trump, but like I do see how skewed the media is, and it's nauseating. So I'm so glad that we do actually have independent channels that are getting some more traction.
And it's kind of cool. It's weird for me because sometimes like I'm one of those people and I recognize I have a flaw with tribalism. You know, there's...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do. It's a flaw of mine. I apologize. Mea culpa. I recognize it. But that's also one of the things we like about the Yang Gang, because if there ever were an excuse to shed some old biases, it's almost like a fresh start.
Yes, totally.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. It's almost like a fresh start. And it is interesting. Like, I think there's 2 lessons that need to be learned. Sometimes I don't think the media has learned its lesson, and Donald Trump needs to get reelected, and they need to be abused for another 4 years before they learn their lessons. And I hope the robots don't take over. There's some days where I just think that absolutely. And then there's other days where I just think, you know, we need not just Andrew Yang, but we need his 3 friends, you know what I'm saying, that think the way he does. And we need to quit having the White House press corps, and it needs to be the vloggers and the bloggers going in there 3 times a week, because they're the only people that aren't, you know, just looking at life life through this crazy rose-colored or blue-colored or orange-colored lens. And so it's a conflict, but at the end of the day, one of the things we love the most is that if there ever was an excuse to shed old biases and enter in a conversation that's very data-driven, math-driven, it's with Andrew Yang.
Yes,
and that's totally what we appreciated.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
Before we wrap, I think it's a really funny picture. I've been throwing some memes up just while you guys talking
Okay.
because I'm rude, I guess. But that's the funny one. This was a great though. I think this really sums up what you guys talking about right here, right? Someone made a meme, and this is what it says. So the liberal media is covering this up. Thanks to your hard work and determination to make America great again, our economy is performing so great that every American citizen is eligible to receive $1,000 per month freedom annuity. If you're an American citizen over the age of 18 and have an American birth certificate, you're already a stockholder in the wealthiest corporation in the United States. Google the freedom dividend. This meme was passed around. I think this person actually legitimately was like a Trump supporter who was like, oh, cool, Trump's doing this. Of course. That is Yang supporters made that.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
But the notion you could take a Yang policy, put it over Donald Trump, and because the policy is so removed from party nonsense, it just works. I can see anyone proposing this because it's a good idea.
Yeah,
I think it's a really good example of that.
And it's interesting because I've actually found it, and by the way, once again, I recognize that this might just be because of social circles, though I do have a very diverse social circle. I mean, every one of my co-hosts has been independent or a Democrat on all of my radio shows. I'm a Hollywood guy. I grew up in show choir. I have bazillions of. I have a very diverse group of friends. In fact, whenever you test me and most of my views, if the question doesn't allow for asterisks or you test my shopping habits, I should totally be an absolute lefty. You know what I'm saying? It's really funny when I take those like online tests of like, depending on where you shop, this will tell how you believe politically or whatever, because there's certain correlations, you know?
Well, hold on. I shop like almost exclusively at like H&M and Trader Joe's. So what does that make me?
Well, that's is why my wife wants to run away with Cody.
Probably, I guess. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Trader Joe's. I'm all about Trader Joe's.
Great stuff.
Yeah,
hey, actually, great beer prices.
So anyway, the crap. What were we talking about? We were
Trader Joe's. I don't know.
No, I totally can't remember.
Just talking about
I found it's actually easier. Maybe I do have slightly more conservative friends, just because a lot of my life has been political talk recently, and I did hold appointed Republican office. I've actually found it easier to get a conservative to consider Andrew Yang and look into UBI.
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
Than I have to get a Bernie bro.
Agreed.
Or an Elizabeth Warren fan. Like, you get somebody who's hardcore Elizabeth Warren, you get somebody who's hardcore Cory Booker, you get somebody who's hardcore Bernie Sanders, they will not budge of this idea that capitalism is evil, $15 minimum wage to punish the fat cats is the only way forward, and that unless you have like a BLM tattoo on your shoulder, you're racist. Like, they won't come off that high horse, whereas when I talk to conservatives, I say, hey, look, dude, you got to look at this guy. He doesn't rip on Trump all the time. He doesn't call conservatives racist. He founded a bunch of companies. He founded a bunch of nonprofits, and he's an advocate for UBI. And it's $1,000 a month, but it's not a giveaway. It would actually shrink the welfare state. It was supported by Milton Friedman. And they're like, Milton Friedman? I was like, it was passed by Richard Nixon. They're like, Richard Nixon? And I said, and a miniature version of it is done in Alaska with the Alaskan pipeline passed by a Republican governor in a red state in 1982. And it would be funded by a VAT tax, which is a consumption-based tax, not an income-based tax.
Right. Yeah.
And then usually they're like, "Whoa, wait, hold on a second." You know what I'm saying? And then the Christian mechanisms start kicking in about how, wow, this actually could alleviate the poor. Oh, this actually could help out the elderly.
Yes, totally.
You know,
actually. So I saw this like little thing where it's like conservatives versus liberals like discussing politics or something like that, and it was a thing on YouTube. It got a whole bunch of views, and as I was watching this whole like discussion going, I realized that actually a lot of the conservatives had a lot better arguments for their ideas. And then the thing is I'm very socially liberal, but then the liberal, like, it's like they were living in such a tiny little echo chamber, right? That they were just like, no, it's right because it's right, you know, because that's the way it should be. And like, they weren't able to actually back up what they were asserting. And it actually made them look really, really freaking bad. And it was like, actually at that point that I'm like, wait a second, I don't think I'm like a Democrat. I'm definitely not a Republican, but I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. Like, that's when I made the choice. I think I'm an independent right now.
And so, what's interesting about that is this is why I tell in every podcast, I'm like, dude, don't fall for the low-hanging Democrat Party fruit of ripping on Trump, because I really think if Andrew Yang has any chance of making it those poll requirements to get to the next step in the debates and everything, it's not going to be by getting Kamala voters or Bernie voters or Biden voters. I think it's going to be by grabbing independents and I think it's easier for Andrew Yang to grab conservatives and independents to his cause than it is to grab a Bernie person, unless that Bernie person has been educated about why minimum wage is actually destructive, and no, you're not a bad person for disagreeing with Bernie, you know? So that's why so much I say it's bad strategy, because look, let's say you do win the nomination and you're on the debate stage against Donald Trump. Let me tell you, the only times I have fallen out of love with Andrew Yang has been when he started ripping on Donald Trump, because I'm like, look, dude, I voted for that guy, and I voted for him not because I'm racist, not because I hate people that don't look at me, because he's the only one that said, "I'll get rid of the Johnson Amendment." He's the only one that said, just like Mitt Romney, I will declare China a currency manipulator, which has been, and these are all things where if you're not in the weeds of politics and understand how it affects us, you know what I'm saying, then you don't understand how China manipulating its own currency has made it so that they're doing all of the manufacturing in the world, because we can't compete with their labor costs, because they're falsely saying that their labor isn't worth as much. So it makes more sense for companies to manufacture over there than manufacture here. The reason why the Rust Belt is the Rust Belt is because, yes, partly automation, but partly because for 40 years, we've gone from being made in America to being made in China. And that's where a lot of these machinist jobs have gone. We have a ton of people here that work in Los Angeles is a huge defense community for people that work for Boeing, that work for Skunk Works, that work for Rockwell, that work for Northrop Grumman. They work for all of the defense contractors, right? And let me tell you, it used to be no matter what your education, there was a job for you at Boeing. If you were a GED holding guy, learn to be a machinist. You'll make $45 an hour. You'll have a pension and you'll be a middle class guy. If you're an engineer, great. Go be an engineer for the landing gear at Boeing. If you've got your PhD, great. You're going to have a security clearance and you're going to be designing whatever heat sinking missile trackers are on the missiles that are going to be dropped out of whatever secret plane they're building. No matter what your education level, there was a job for you at Boeing. Now, the inexpensive parts of the non-flight critical pieces and also the non-defense parts have all been shipped out to China. You know what I'm saying? The new low wage and entry level position is a college degree, which costs a bunch of money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you indebt yourself. And if you got your PhD, yeah, sure, you're making bank, because then you're part of that wealthy upper class. Now, instead of having a bell curve of wealth like this, you've got this like spike that generates that income inequality. We talk about it, and a lot of it's because of hyper-regulation, not racism.
That's why we need automation. Well, that's why, but the automation is going to be obviously a much, much bigger threat, and that's why we shouldn't actually try and stifle it.
Yes, let's quit incentivizing automation.
Be more competitive.
Really quickly.
Anyway,
I just happened to be going through Twitter,
and
I noticed something, and I thought it'd be cool since we're all here together to mention this. So, at Corp Mosby on Twitter said, PSP Radio 1, rather than watching cable news networks and their agendas, I watch you guys along with others like Paget Kagy, Kyle Klinski, David D of PRM, Dave Packman, Joshua. So I just thought it'd be cool for us to shout out, say thank you, man. We always appreciate stuff like this. We don't always get the respond, but always I appreciate it. So thank you. And then again.
Oh, and by the way, this is another cool thing about Andrew Yang. I disagree with 90% of what Kyle Klinski says. Under no other pretenses would I ever be stuck in the same sentence as Kyle Klinski if it were not for Andrew Yang. Like, that is a positive. That is a positive thing that Andrew Yang has done for this young man.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So agreed. Agreed. It's very funny.
All right. So anyway, we're going to wrap it up here really fast. Tell us, Paget, how can people find you? How can they follow you?
Really embarrassing, but my username on YouTube is actually SparkleBlue27. Or you could just type in Paget Kagy.
It is.
Well, it's because it's from like the 7th grade. All right, guys, and I don't know how to change it.
What is it? SparkleBlue27?
Don't even get.
Yes,
it's
hilarious. That actually is. I look at the top. That's
hilarious.
I can confirm. That is
okay, so we're here live with SparkleBlue27. And then what about on YouTube? Is it just Paget Kagy?
Well, that's what I mean. It's on YouTube. It's Paget.
I see.
On Twitter, it's Paget Kagy. On Instagram, it's Paget Kagy. It's just I can't change that shit. I mean, stuff.
All right.
Yeah,
can't
because
change it.
they give you a default one and then let you change it. And when you that's hilarious.
Yeah,
That is
so
too
I'm
funny.
stuck with it. So
Hey,
great.
that's
Funny.
awesome. That's
Oh, whoops.
awesome.
I want to show your Twitters too, but that's another Twitter.
I love
Anyway.
sparkly blue things. Like when I was back in the day, that was my
It gives
thing.
you character. You know?
Yeah.
Who else is that, right?
So-
no.
All right, so check this out. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, make sure you press the subscribe button right here. If you haven't liked it, smash that like button. Also, right here, we're going to have 2 videos, our last 2 videos that you can watch, our interview with Daniel and also our other commentary on some really cool Yang news. If you want to contribute to the channel, make sure you hang out for the live streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or you can check out the PayPal link in the description. This is Problem Solver Politics.